winter meetings time. And Russ, let's get right into the poll question. We'll dive into it on the Blue Jays. So there's been a lot of writing and speculation that they might do something big, or at least they're going to try. So we put the poll out. Will they get Ohtani, get Soto, or miss both? I just voted. I actually put Soto. I think they have a shot. And if the Yankees don't pay up the way the Padres want them to, or maybe they don't match up that way, I think Ricky Tiedemann's a really good pitching prospect who they can revolve this deal around, and that might be the best prospect they could get in a deal like this quality-wise. Maybe they do get him because I don't think they're getting Ohtani. Your thoughts?
I'm just speculating. The one that they need to me is Soto, because I think when you look at the Toronto Blue Jays and their offensive production, you know what you're going to get out of Springer. Most times you know what you're going to get about Vlad Jr., like when he's playing at the Vlad Jr. level, Bo Bichette, etc. But you look at their outfield, right? Outside of Springer, and if he gets banged up, then you just have to worry about Dalton Varsha, who is an elite glove, but didn't really show the offensive upside that he did his last year in Arizona. So I think they need Juan Soto, and you look at that production, and I love the idea of Toronto saying, hey, we're going all in with Vladdy, with Bo Bichette. Who knows what happens with Matt Chapman, but we're going to have our lineup revolve around Juan Soto and Vladdy.
Isn't Vladdy supposed to be what Juan Soto has been his entire career? Like, Vladdy's not MVP season. Like, it's more walks than strikeouts. So shouldn't Vladdy be the guy? Like, if they just say, hey, you know what? We're not picking Soto up because you need to be our Juan Soto. Wouldn't it be better if they got somebody else?
Not necessarily. Because I look at it as, why not have two of those guys, right? Like, why not have a guy in Juan Soto from the left side, have Vladdy from the right side? And I think you're right. You look at that 2021 season that Vladdy had, where in a world where Shohei doesn't exist, he's the runaway MVP in the American League. I think he's closer to being that player than the player we've seen over the last year and a half that wasn't really producing, wasn't really hitting the ball in the ballpark last year until the back half of the season. I think he's closer to being the AL MVP runner-up from 2021. But you still need other guys in that lineup that can help a guy like a Vlad Jr., right? Having Juan Soto in that same lineup helps Vlad Jr., right? It helps Bo Bichette. It helps Davis Schneider. It helps George Springer. So I would love that move just from a baseball standpoint and saying, all right, you run that 1 through 5 in that order against anybody else in baseball, you're going to have a tough go.
If they add Soto or Shohei, are they now the American League favorite for the World Series? With their starting rotation, 4 guys that made over 28 starts, like possibly one of the most solid rotations, not the most like elite top end, but their ceiling, their floor is like here. So do they catapult to the number 1 contender in the American League with either one of those guys?
I'm trying to quickly run through the team. So AL Central, they got everybody in that division. The AL East, are they better than the Yankees with Juan Soto? Maybe because of the starting pitching, right? They're better than Boston if they do that. I think you look at the AL West. Oh, wait a minute. Let me go back to the AL East. Are they better than the Orioles if they add Juan Soto?
That's my question. Is that lineup what it should be? Because this year's lineup was supposed to be absolute gas. They were supposed to mash, and it was kind of flipped upside down. The starting pitching kind of did it, and they kind of hit some.
I think that's the thing I'm concerned about with Baltimore in that whole equation, where I think the O's are going to hit, right? And especially if Jackson Holiday comes up and plays for them majority of next season. I really like that team. I really like that lineup. But I don't know if they can match the starting pitching that the Blue Jays have with Kevin Gausman at the front end. Are they I have a tough time saying they'd be the best team in the American League, though, just because those teams in the AL West have been so strong for so long. And I think you look at the Texas Rangers early in their tenure with Corey Seager and Marcus Semien, and not knowing what they do in the starting pitching market, where they can be in on a lot of guys too. I still like the Rangers and what they can do.
Even the Rangers were a team that barely made the playoffs. Yeah, I know they won the World Series, but
Mhm.
they barely made the playoffs. So to me, then I'll double down since it's on me again. They had Shohei and Soto. Pipe
No,
dream.
no.
Pipe dream. Scott doesn't want to go there like we're talking about the NFL. But we're talking about a team in the Blue Jays that owns an entire country.
Mhm.
Do they become World Series favorites if they add them both?
Well, yeah, at that point, if you're going to go all in and
Okay,
say,
good.
screw it, I'll be damned if there's a better team than us this year. Yes, I think you can definitively say they would be the World Series favorite if they add both Shohei Ohtani and Juan Soto. Do they get that done? If they do, salute, because that's quite the haul there at the winter meetings or in an off season. But I'd love to see the chaos that ensues after that.
Shirtless show for you, or whatever you want, Kratz. Something to embarrass myself, dinner, whatever. Okay, whatever you want. You name it. We'll make it
You got to
happen.
shave the
It's
beard and only go mustache.
done. Mustache for a week. Okay.
This is
2
such an
weeks.
opposite conversation of the Mariners one we just had.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Right?
Exactly. But still, I'm telling you, and this actually leads to my next question. The Blue Jays are going after Ohtani. Okay. If they don't get him, Soto is a great backup option for them, even though it's one season. I think it's a great situation for a team that, in my mind, has 2 years left in their winning window, because I don't know if they're going to keep both Vladdy and Bo Bichette. And some of their other pitchers are getting older. Like, this is their time to win, and they have not done what they are supposed to do. They haven't won a playoff series since, 2016 or something. So, with all of that being said, Russ, do you think that scenario is going to make the winter meetings potentially boring, in that there are other teams that are in the same boat too, that are waiting for mysterious Shohei to make a decision? Now, I said that I think he'll make a decision by Friday, but that would be after the winter meetings. But Toronto might say to San Diego, hey, let's chill for a little bit, because if we don't get Ohtani, we can probably give you a little more for Soto right now, but we can't do our Soto trade yet because we're not getting both. The Giants could make the same case with some of the other dudes that they might go after, and on, right? Like, the Giants probably not getting Bellinger, Ohtani, and someone like Montgomery or Yamamoto, but they'd like to maybe get 2 of those guys. So with all of this being said, if Ohtani just kind of sits back and is still deciding, is that going to prevent serious big signings in this winter meetings?
Likely. And I think when you look at what Shohei is as a free agent, he is the big domino. He is the big piece. He is the straw that stirs the drink right now. And I think something you hear when you talk to people in the industry is irons in the fire, right? A lot of teams have a lot of irons in the fire right now. But until people know what their resources are, what the market looks like without Shohei on it, I don't think a team like the Dodgers can decide, oh, are we still in on Yamamoto? Well, I want to know if we get Shohei first. And then we could be very confident in those conversations like, hey, we got Shohei. Let's go get Yoshinobu Yamamoto as well. Like, if you're a team that's in on Blake Snell, do you want to see if Yamamoto signs first? Well, does Yamamoto sign before Shohei? So, like, there's all these, ups and downs of, if this happens, then this happens. Like, when you're a kid and you're reading those books that says to find out what happens, turn to page 47. I think there are a lot of teams in that boat. Like, all right, if Shohei signs, turn to page 47, right? And then there's a lot of events that happen after that. Like, I think you go from Shohei to Yamamoto to Snell to Dylan Cease getting traded, right? Like, I don't think a Dylan Cease trade happens before those other things happen, right? Like, so until we get Shohei to sign, especially in the starting pitching market, I think we have a tough time having more movement, maybe some lower level deals, but you're not going to see any of the big boys sign until Shohei moves, in my opinion.
You kind of answered my question. That's where I was going with who would they go after if they missed out on Shohei. And it's always the big dominoes that have to go first, because teams want to wait and see what they can get in there, and then they'll put their money towards elsewhere. Going back to Toronto, though, let's say Shohei signs elsewhere. Let's say they turn their attention to Soto. Yankees can offer more money. What does Toronto look like? Where do they go then next? What does those next names look like? Because you said Snell,
Yeah,
Cease for pitcher markets. What's the hitter market?
I think, Kip, it's a tough year in the free agent market in terms of position player. Like there's just not that top end talent like we've seen over the last 3 or 4 years where you had names like Judge, Machado, Harper, all the shortstops, whether it's Correa and Seager and Simeon out there. It's just not that this year, right? And so you look at what Toronto needs. They need outfielders. Where do you go? And something I tweeted as just an expectation I had before the winter meeting started is I think you have seen an increase in the trade market, at least talk in the trade market, because of the lack of production that is out there in the free agent market, especially in the outfield market where Toronto will be looking. So is there a name out there that could interest Toronto? I know a lot of teams are calling the Chicago White Sox. Like, could a guy like an Eloy Jimenez fit up north of the border in Toronto if you're looking for offense? Like that, if I'm a team that needs offense and I look at a guy in Eloy, it's like, all right, it's a lot of homers out there. Maybe he doesn't play outfield full time. Maybe he DHs for us the majority of the time. But I think that's a guy that in Rogers Center hit a lot of home runs. So I definitely think as we go here and you're seeing some of the movement in the starting pitching market and free agency, I think on the other side of that, I think you're going to see more of that offensive production. I think teams are going to really look heavily into the trade market this year.
All right, Russ, enjoy yourself out there, man. Don't get lost.
Yo, it's a big place. I know Divish said it's the 7 rings of hell. This place is massive, so I will likely get lost at least once or twice.
They need navigation on your phone to get everywhere within the hotel. I know that's not usually how it works, but they need it.
They got maps everywhere, so they know people getting lost.
I can't read a map. I only do straight up what the phone tells me to do. If it tells me to walk into the ocean and keep walking, I listen because I trust that eventually I'll get where I need to go.
Scott, there was a time where all you had was MapQuest. Like, don't do that, right?
And guess what, Russ? When I printed out MapQuest and then went to drive somewhere that was like beyond the 10, 15-minute radius of where I lived, I was so freaking lost. I ended up in other states, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. So I'm thankful for the technology that we have now, dude.
Russ, find a buddy.
Yeah.
Find a buddy that you're going to go to every press conference with. And if you don't see him or her, or she doesn't, or he doesn't see you, they'll raise their hand, and then we need to find out Russ.
Yeah, I'm pro buddy system. You got a lot of friends here. It's the great part about the winter meeting. So somebody is likely to say, I don't see Russ. Let's find him. And then there's a search party to find me at the winter meeting.
Okay, perfect. So when we talk to you later this week, we'll find out who Russ's buddy is on the buddy system. Enjoy life out there, dude. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Stadium's Russ Dorsey with us. We'll be right back.